Greetings, my fellow Farloom fanatics. Welcome to a full in-depth analysis of every single sprite of Hornet we got today. My name is Primacon, and in case you missed it, IGN did an article with ACMI and they gave us new sprites for Hornet in 4K. I kinda wanted to just gawk over every single one of them and give my thoughts, but I was worried the video will balloon too long. But on my good old Discord server, you guys said you don't care and you'd prefer a pretty long video about it. So grab some juice, lay down, get comfortable. Do subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 31,000 subs and any help would be really appreciated. And let's dive into it. So I have the sprites pulled up here in Photoshop because there's a lot of them and they're in like really good quality, so you can like really zoom in and see a lot of details. My god, you can zoom in so much and still preserve all the detail. That's great. So starting up, we get Hornet sitting down at benches, of course, looking left, down, right, everywhere, opening up her map. That's so cool. She puts her leg on her other leg. A lot of character in just these simple little animations, which someone pointed out in r/Silksong that you could probably string together these and make an actual like video animation out of it, which if someone does that, that would be pretty cool. So, future Primacon here. As I was editing this video, someone already did that with a couple of these sprites. I talk about them later in the video, speculating on them, but it's really cool to see them in action. Hornet wielding bangles that belong to Chakra, and also Hornet being, you know, engulfed. There's very subtle differences in these one, like her hand's missing here, but she has her hand right there. I think this is just frame by frame every single sprite of her opening a map. A lot of the sprites are not right side up for some reason. This looks like her in a damaged state, maybe when she only has 1 health left. This one is really cool. It's her sitting on her needle. Is she riding her needle like a witch? Or is the needle just behind her? Either way, looking at her eyes, she's tweaking. I don't know what's going on here, which is gonna be a running theme in this video. A lot of these are wacky. And I'm not gonna stop over sprites like these where not something interesting is happening. Here, it seems to be a battle stance. I think she's getting ready for an attack, maybe to throw a tool. Maybe she could be holding something in this hand and then chucking it like a baseball, you don't know. Hornet from her backside. This kind of reminds me of the knight looking up at the radiance, where you can see the knight's backside as well. This is so fucking funny. I don't know if she's falling from the sky or she's floating above water. A lot of these sprites where the cloak is all written up like this has me believing that it could be like she's submerged into a liquid. Like with these 3 sprites chained together as well, it just looks like she's like floating through something. Her cloak is a little written up, maybe by the water level, and her needle is held high up too. This we know she's getting ready to throw her needle with that spear move that she does even in Hollow Knight. A couple of sprites of just her standing still, you know, front and back. Back ones are really curious to me because I wonder if this means you can stare at like objects in the background. This seems to be another one of her resting animations. Maybe she's sitting on a stone or something. Now this disc is pretty cool. I think this is a tool. Not sure what else it would be. It also kind of reminds me of the bangles that's worn by Chakra. Maybe it's related to that. And here Hornet has her map open just like the knight does if you hold L1 on your bumper. This one is funny. This looks like she's holding up her stomach like someone punched her in the gut, like, Hornet pointing a finger. Hey, you. Yes, you. Stop. In the name of the Shah. Ah, the classic spider crawl animation. I wonder if they implemented the back step into Silksong as a back crawl animation. Because Hollow Knight Beta had a back step mechanic that they took out. Hornet doing some crazy flips. We've seen these in a lot of trailers of how acrobatic she is. Here's Hornet down on her knees. This could be like a waking up from a death animation or just about to die animation. Hornet chucking something as the floor as she jumps up in the air. Very cool. And this row is completed by a lot of more flips and throw attacks that she's doing, ending with a couple of shots of her eyes being like this, which is so funny. This is weird because this almost looks like she's crouch walking. I don't know what that's about. I doubt there'll be crouching stealth mechanic in Silksong. I'm sure this is just an in-between frame of something, but still. This at first I thought was a sprint, but because the needle is going below her legs, I'm sure this is like an air dash. This one is interesting because it's Hornet looking up at something. Is it a character looking down at us from a cliffside or a really huge enemy? Here's another sprite of her looking up, a couple of them. Now this, oh my god, don't tell me this isn't just Hornet being flung across the screen. Like something just hit her in the face and she's going flying across. When we take damage in Hollow Knight, we don't usually get displaced too much other than the usual boop distance, which is the same for any damage you take. I wonder if in Silksong, just like heavy blow, if Hornet gets hit by something big, she'll go flying off. Another sprite of Hornet kneeling down, but this time without her nail for some reason. This one is the opposite of Hornet being flung across. This is clearly her flying forward. This sprite we actually saw in one of the new screenshots of Hornet ziplining herself up across the blue area. So this is already familiar, but right next to that, there's just Hornet with her lower body missing. I am not sure in what scenario Team Cherry would need to do this, unless of course she's submerged in a liquid that's so viscous that you really can't see under it at all. But yeah, there's all the sprites needed to form a full animation for Hornet zipping up. Next row starts with things we have already seen. Hornet throwing her needle, Hornet doing the silly, just standing there menacingly. Whatever the hell this is supposed to mean. I'm assuming this is a in-between frame of a spin. Same with this seems to be an in-between frame of her about to use like a tool. Looks like she has her hand raised in the air like she's holding a spirit bomb. Hornet playing her needle, of course. And another pretty good sprite of Hornet with her back to us. In a different pose this time. Doesn't it look like she's almost ready to like bow down or something? This looks like she's ready to like strike her needle like that across the screen. This sprite is pretty cool. Looks like she's dodging something. Doesn't it look like that? Imagine some like projectile going right between here and she's like dodging it. Now this, of course, the ass wings, one of the most important sprites in this sprite sheet. So it's pretty much confirmed she'll have a similar ability to the knight to use wings to go higher up. People are saying that the wings are just coming from under the cloak. This seems to be the very first frame of when you press double jump and the wings sprout out. But yeah, ass wings for 2025. Pretty hype. More needle playing, more pointing it seems, or at least the starting frame of a pointing animation. More headless Hornet, but you see how there's a very small transparent layer behind her? It just supports my theory more that she's definitely submerged in a very thick viscous liquid. This is an in-between frame of Hornet performing an ability. There's a lot of frames like this on Hollow Knight 2, where for like a frame or two the night glows completely white. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that happen when you cast your Vengeful Spirit? Next goofy frame is this one. Again, I think it's in between sprite of action animation. Call me crazy, but this sprite also looks like her ready to mount her needle. I don't know what's up with that. Now these next couple of sprites are really cool. It's her sitting down and playing her needle. We have not seen that before. We have only seen her do it while standing up. I'm hoping we can just sit in a quiet, peaceful town by like a little Lumify campfire and just play our song and just relax for a little bit. That would be so cool. This sprite of Hornet ominously looking off into the distance. Very cool. This is so cool. It's Hornet drawing her needle just like the knight did before Radiance. It's Hornet doing a little wave. I think that's pretty cute, all things considered. Another white Hornet. Very nice. This looks like Hornet getting bitch slapped again as usual, you know. Seems to happen to her a lot. Now be careful. Here's like her drawing her needle, right? But right after this sprite, we get the legendary, the one, the only, the naked Hornet. This has sparked so much speculation and discussion in r/Silksong and all the Discord servers of Hollow Knight. Some people think this is her taking off her cloak to put on a new one, maybe alluding to more cloak customizability. Some people have speculated this is Hornet like getting all the water out of her cloak after getting out of underwater sections. Some people think this is Hornet getting ready for a nice bath in a hot spring. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but this is clearly the winner in this massive sprite sheet of the best sprite of Hornet we have ever gotten. Maybe only seconded by ass wings. I'm not sure what this is. These just look like leaves, random leaves. I don't know why they're in the Hornet sprite sheet. I couldn't tell ya, but it's pretty cool. Definitely some interesting stuff to spot here, like the last frame of her needle throwing animation. This could be the start of the zipline thing you can do in Silksong. And then there's this sprite, which has been the profile picture for a lot of people for a long time. Hornet with her needle raised up in the air is pretty cool. You can see it right up here and down here as well. Looks like a defensive stance. This is, I think, start of the zipline animation we saw in the 2022 Xbox trailer. Hornet diving down, of course. Pretty cool. There's this sprite I really like. It looks like Hornet using like a wall to just boost herself off and going straight down. She looks ferocious in this. I love this sprite. Here's a right side up shot of her stance with the needle in the air. Now this is where it starts to get really interesting. There seems to be something tightly wrapped around Hornet like a snake. I wonder if this is an ability she's performing on herself or if this is an enemy attacking Hornet where we probably have to spam the attack button to break out. Like, obviously there's a lot of jokes going on around this in the community, but this is one of the more interesting sprites they've showcased. But there's a lot more sprites of Hornet walking with her map open, as you can see where my cursor is pointing. This is the one I mentioned in my previous video, her just standing there menacingly with her cloak balloon. Not a single crease to be seen on the cloak, it's actually fully stretched out. God knows what's going on. Is she standing under a platform blowing air up into her cloak? Is this just an intimidation tactic to have her bosses just give up instead of fighting her? It seems to be working, so I don't know. This sprite is a different color, again, just because a lot of these, as you can see, are very similar because they're literally frame by frame of an animation that plays out. Really loving this sprite right here. She's throwing Silk up in the air, so I think this is how you start your up zipline animation that we saw in that screenshot. She probably like chucks her needle up in the air like that and then zips up to the ceiling. That is so cool, man. Gameplay is gonna be so much fun for Silksong. This is the most derpy looking shit ever. It's like, hello guys. It looks like she's riding the fucking underground metro or something. But right below that is one of the most interesting sprites, which is Hornet Lightning. A lot of people have compared this to Crystal Dash. I kind of disagree. This more looks like an attack to me, but maybe I could be wrong. It could be her Crystal Dash. But just because it's purple doesn't, you know, we'll have to see. But this sprite is just so sick. Fuck, man, I can't wait to have this game in my hands. I'm sorry, just looking at these sprites, it gets me so excited. I just keep imagining all kind of gameplay things you can do in this game, and I'm just like, ugh, I want to play it. Surely not too long now. Couple of sprites of her needles, one with the handle broken apart for some reason. Does this mean you can break your nail? Moving along, you see more of these leaves. I really don't know why they have it here, but right below the leaves is Hornet using her ass wings again, or at least about to. They're starting to sprout. The most in-depth sprite of her ass wings is right here. As someone said in one of my comments, we hope Ass Jim is the one who drops the ass wings. It'll only make sense. Here's her dead on the floor. This reminds me of the ending of Hollow Knight. The Dream No More ending. But a lot of sprites of her needle broken apart. It could be that this is just supposed to be Hornet's hand covering this part of the needle, but I don't know. A lot of silk sprites, which really on their own don't mean much. It's just her performing silk-based attacks. This is pretty cool. This seems to be like a jab move, like a pretty fast, like something straight out of a fighting game. Here's a better sprite of Hornet Balloon. She's trending even more broadly in this one. Oh my god, this is actually peak cinema. Seriously, what the fuck are you doing, Hornet? Please let us know. This seems to be the start of her death animation before she just explodes into silk. And there is the first frame of that black thing just wrapping itself around Hornet. Really looks like a worm to me, but it could very well be an ability. And this sprite of her having her needle right in her face, we saw that in the trailer. Another interesting sprite is this one. She is not wielding her needle in this at all. She just has the rings that Chakra has in both her hands. That is very cool. I doubt this means that these are switchable weapons that you can fight with these rings or whatever. I think more probably she's performing some kind of ritual or a dance or something, but I found it very interesting and worthy of pointing out this sprite. Let me know what you think she's doing, because we see these rings like a lot in this sprite sheet. I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be the same. And here, if you notice this sprite right here and this sprite right here, you can't tell me she's not swimming underwater in this one. It just looks so much like it. Just look the way her legs are crossing each other, and she seems to be going in an arch motion. This is literally her like diving down. Oh man, the more I look at some of these sprites, the more I get convinced that we'll have underwater sections in Silksong. Please let me know what you think about this. And I've spent way too long staring at all these sprites, but I think I covered pretty much every unique and interesting one. Again, I'd like to remind you guys that this is how zoomed in I am. Like, if I go down to the normal size, this is how many there are. So if I missed any, I'm really sorry about it, but here, I'll have it up here on the screen. In case I miss any, do let me know in the comments something unique and interesting that just went over my head. But the takeaway from this video is my hype is maximum. Silksong is coming out in the next 4 months, and I can't wait to make a full let's play of it. Thank you for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video. Primacon signing out.